Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. God, I love that intro. Thank you for making that, Dawson. That's so cool. Welcome back to The Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and the lying corporate media. We're going to do a lot of both of that today. Joining me, as always, is Mega Jesse. How you doing, Mega Jesse?
I am doing fantastic. We got a lot of good stuff to get into today. I'm excited. We get to expose a lot of what's going on, so let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it. Also, Mr. Straight-Laced himself. Collared shirt, sweater. It's just your thing. We're in Mr. Williams' neighborhood, I guess, right?
I suppose so. Good to be here, Jake.
Also running the dials is Dawson in the dark with Bridget. No, I didn't mean it that way. I'm glad at least Bridget laughed at that. Bridget will be reading your comments. Let us know where you're watching from. If you want to be part of the show, just comment on Rumble, comment on Facebook. Don't try commenting on YouTube because we're not there. We're banned. Still banned on YouTube. Can't be on YouTube.
Yep.
We say medical misinformation according to these wacko jobs. Also, follow us on Twitter. That's action_liberty on Twitter. Do we have that little thing that you always put down here, Dawson, so people can see it? That's our Rumble one. There's our Twitter one right there. All right, action_liberty. Also, follow us on Rumble. This is very important because Rumble is at least standing by us. Facebook, I don't know if people are watching this on Facebook. I don't know if they can see it on Facebook. They are terrible, but they haven't actually banned us like YouTube, all right? YouTube's awful, terrible people. So follow us on Rumble. Make sure you follow us on Rumble, The Truth Hurts show there. And I also want to tell you, tonight, we'll be back. We're doing 2 shows today. We're going to be doing live reaction. I'm so excited about this, guys. Live reaction to Biden's State of the Union address. That's at 8 p.m. Central, so make sure to tune in. Now, if you want to get commentary about how outrageous his policies are, maybe we'll talk about the Chinese balloon, and perhaps we'll talk about his jab mandates, all that kind of stuff, tune into our show. If you actually want to listen to the guy speak or try to speak, we're probably not the best thing. Go look on C-SPAN.
Yeah, go to C-SPAN for that.
Yeah, go to C-SPAN for that. You'll be bored out of your mind. But if you want good commentary and some fun and maybe a drinking game, I don't know if we're going to do that or not, tune in live at 8 p.m. Why you give me that look, William?
I would literally give you the same look. You're talking, I'm watching you talk. But if
maybe
we're
I'm not
doing,
used to you watching me talk.
if we're doing a drinking game, we actually got to listen to what he's saying. So that's the downside.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We can't talk over him.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're definitely not going to do that then. Do hand gestures. Okay, let's get into this stuff. This is supposed to be a short program because we really don't have time to do all these shows in one day, but we really care about you, and we really appreciate people tuning in. Honest to God. You know, in fact, before we get into these important topics, I got a donation the other day. I show it to you, sizable donation to Action for Liberty, and the person says, put Jesse on air more. I was like, what? You got fans now?
I guess so. You know, us Trump people, we stick together. We understand what's going on. We know the battle we're in for, and we're united.
All right. Well, I guess I'll have to put you on air more. I thought it gave him a lot of airtime. I don't know. Maybe we go to William too much. First topic. Have you guys seen this? This is crazy. The Grammys, who I don't think people are watching the Grammys in our audience, okay? Let's just be honest.
Oh, yeah, I never watch it. You know, the only time you see anything is if the news is up like we're talking about here.
Right. I accidentally saw the Grammys because for some reason my wife had ABC on. I want to say it's ABC or CBS. I don't know which one it is. She had it up, and I came downstairs, and maybe she had something on before then. Anyhow, I was like, oh, God, it's been a while for the Grammys. So I didn't actually see live this side act that's just ridiculous, but it's just, you know, I kind of wish we had a program on Monday to talk about this because a lot of people have talked about it. But this is so absolutely insane if you haven't seen this. So they've got this basically song that's like satanic worshiping, right? And then the sponsorship following it, going into commercial break, it's almost as if the globalists are just trolling us at this point. So let's go ahead and play this clip here, Dawson, of Sam Smith. Is that right?
Yep.
Sam Smith performing Unholy on the Grammys. Oh, of course, we got an ad. Well, Rumble's got to make some money, so I'm not going to fault them on that one.
Unbelievable.
See, I thought this was like a parody when I first watched it,
Not
but
a
no,
parody.
this is real.
That's real.
It's insane.
Is it planned out? If it's planned out, it's like they're trolling us, you know? It's like unbelievable inserting it there. And honestly, does Hollywood even care at this point? They're all the great salesmen for Pfizer. Did you guys see this new? I should have had this prepared. Pfizer's got a new ad. I think, it's Pfizer, but it's backed by maybe some website. And it's got Pink and Michael Phelps, some other celebrity I don't know, and some other celebrity I don't know. I think I don't know. I can't remember. Honestly, they were not that important. But Michael Phelps. And it's like they're pushing Pfizer. It's so freaking ridiculous. And, of course, it's whatever solution they have to COVID. But this was just, like, grotesque.
Right. You know, there's like Lil Nas X, and now this, you know, we're seeing Hollywood become more and more demonic. We're seeing these people represent evil, and luckily now we're seeing that Pfizer is the one behind it. They're the one funding some of this demonic stuff, and it's definitely stuff that we can't tolerate. And they're trying to influence the people. They're trying to remove our morality. And
is this not supposed to be a family show? Like, I thought the Grammys were something that you could watch with your family.
That's what it
Clearly
should
not.
be.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally worshiping Satan on stage, and they want your kids to be worshiping Satan, too. That's their agenda. They want to push this stuff in schools.
And I could be wrong, but isn't this Sam Smith song about like a guy who's cheating on his wife? And I don't think there's anything in the song itself that's demonic. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. But it seems weird how they're connecting these two things here. It's weird that that's the sort of performance that he wants to give.
Yeah, I know. I mean, honestly, I've got a lot of leeway when it comes to artistic expression, honestly. You know, to me, it's just the juxtaposition of the satanic basically worship incorporated in the song, and then it's brought to you by Pfizer. But it's even crazier. Bring up that other video I put to write on it. You guys probably haven't seen this. I saw some talk about Madonna. I guess I haven't seen Madonna in a while. Have you seen this?
I've seen the picture that everyone's passing around of Madonna at 64.
She, I guess, was introducing the song. Go ahead and play this clip here. This is actually a little bit of a montage. Oh, we got another ad.
At least it's not video ads. I don't mind this so much.
Yeah.
You're definitely onto something. That's where you make noise. Yeah, thank you.
Please know this stuff a lot better than us. Is that Kim Petras? Is that the name of... Do you know anything about this? Afternoon. Holy cow. Long day already. Are you familiar with this Kim Petras at all? No. I looked it up. Apparently, Kim Petras was like, well, actually, pull up the Wikipedia. Let's do this on the fly here. I know we're going a little off script here, guys. Not that we have a script on the show, but this is fascinating stuff. Kim Petras Wikipedia. And the first thing it says, and Wikipedia, I guess, has gone completely woke. Not that that's a shocker. Is that was assigned... let's see, go to the early life part, and you'll see at age 4. Oh no, where is this? Where did I see this? Then age 13 appeared on the show, which she discussed. Where did I see it? Somewhere I saw in here was assigned male at birth. Why is that not? Has that been changed? Maybe it's been changed.
I doubt it's just Control F it.
Yeah.
Must have been
Anyhow, somewhere I saw it was controlled birth, but in 2006, Petras, then age 13, appeared on a German television current affairs show in which she discussed her medical gender transition at age 13.
Yeah, that should be illegal. We should not be allowing children to transition. That's child abuse right there.
Well,
that is
not only that, but it says that she was on a German television show,
right?
And they talked about her getting the surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
This
on
is
air.
What's clearly not
so insane.
This clearly wasn't his decision. That was their parents and the media and everyone
external
pushing this
influence.
nonsense. It
Right.
literally is
that's
child
the
abuse.
craziness of the leftist agendas, and now they're celebrating it. She gets a standing ovation she standing ovation when announced that she's the first transgender girl. I can't even do this. The pronouns are just confusing as hell nowadays, right? So I just think, and I honestly, this is the second person that's transgender that actually is confusing me, because you see a woman, but why not? She didn't go through puberty most likely as a male, which is absolutely crazy. You would chop up a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, I mean, probably hormones and all that stuff never actually got to develop as a man. But at 13, how the hell do you know?
It's a dangerous world.
It's a very dangerous world. And Hollywood, Grammys, act as if everything is fine. I have no idea.
Yeah, like that's normal.
But that is not normal.
Same thing here.
Loyal to the foil. Loyal
Oh,
to
yeah.
the foil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And then going back to it, the fact, like, the satanic worship in the song, and then brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it seems.
Yeah, it is unbelievable
Seems
that
appropriate
Pfizer
there.
connected themselves to that. It's not a good look for them at all, but, it just shows that they're propaganda.
Well,
and most people didn't even notice it, probably.
The demon worship stuff, it's not about worshiping Satan. It's about worshiping yourself. And when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it all makes sense. This is what liberalism is. You're abandoning God. You're abandoning all that's true and beautiful. And you're just doing whatever what gratifies you. That's what's so disgusting about this, but it's also what makes it all make sense.
You're such a proper young fella. You know that, William? Your mom should be very proud of you.
But,
I think she is.
it is interesting. These are very selfish people who don't care about individual rights. They're all about community. So I agree with what you're saying, but it is like a community philosophy that they adhere to.
Right. Let's move on, because we want to keep this program short. Once again, we'll be back tonight live reaction to Biden's State of the Union address. So we'll save some of this material for that too, because we might have to do a lot of interruptions during his speech. What he's going to say is going to be not that important.
I can't imagine he's going to give us anything good. It's not going to be the truth. Joe Biden's going to be the puppet that he is.
What's he going to say about the Chinese spy balloon?
I don't think he's going to bring it
Oh,
up.
come on. That's the elephant in the room.
Oh, I know
you gotta
it
be
is.
talking about it.
But-
you think they're going to ignore the Chinese spy balloon?
Of course.
I
All right.
think he's going to make a joke about it because everyone finds it funny right now. He's going to...
I don't know if everyone finds that funny.
unless your name is Marco Rubio, I guess, but
I'm
otherwise...
missing this context here.
Marco Rubio is like the talking head on this issue for some reason.
Yeah.
For the GOP.
Who made Rubio the guy on this
Just
one?
because he's on the Foreign Affairs Committee and apparently had some briefings on these topics.
You know who's not
so-
on the Foreign Affairs Committee these days?
What's that? Oh, Ilhan, yeah.
Omar. Pull up the Twitter tweet. This is the path. I don't know how accurate it is. It's probably generally the right path. But we do know it entered our space. Well, went over to Alaska first and then entered over Idaho, was noticed in Montana, traveled through Kansas, Missouri, then eventually left the coast.
Well, hold on a second, Jake. It was noticed by civilians in Montana.
Right.
But the government knew it was coming in through Alaska, Canada, and then Idaho. And I think they just weren't going to say anything.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what's
Until
interesting
everyone
is
made a big
the
deal about it.
official narrative of why they shot down, they let this thing go all the way, as you can see, continental United States, and then shot off the East Coast. And the official narrative, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong in this, Jesse, because you got some info on this, is that they didn't want to hurt civilian populations by doing this over the people, right?
That's what they're
Residents.
suggesting,
But
right?
it's like if you saw this going over Alaska, I mean, you get past Alaska range, you're pretty safe to shoot that sucker down.
Oh, yeah.
Half the United States is not populated. It's a ridiculous excuse.
There's a part of the Rockies that flew over, probably could knock it down. To wait to the ocean, obviously the ocean's the most safe, but that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Certainly past Alaskan range in Alaska, you got a lot of nothingness. It might affect some caribou, but I think you're fine shooting that thing down. The idea we just let this thing go throughout the whole United States is unbelievable.
Right.
Well, this isn't us being war hawks, by the way, because I don't believe any of us here really believe that war is a good thing.
Well, hold on.
necessarily.
Warhawks is like we're intervening other nations.
Well,
I
right,
don't
and
know
that's my
anyone that
point.
says you shouldn't defend your country. Right?
That's my point. You need to defend your border and you need to protect your citizenry.
Yep.
And it's clear that that's not what was happening here.
Yeah, but I mean, William, we got to send more tanks to
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
yeah.
I mean, that,
Well,
like,
yeah,
what are
we
you
need
doing?
at least another 3
We don't need a
billion.
System in China. So they, now they see all of our military bases. That was one of the things they said in Idaho, that they were going over the Air Force Base in Mountain Home. I imagine that was what they were doing in Montana and several other places. China already has this information. We have to, we can't allow this kind of stuff to go on
Well,
any
China
further.
already had the information anyway. Their satellites can pick up all this stuff. What they were doing, I believe, is a show of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And we just let it happen.
Right, they believe that we are weak and that we won't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they unleashed a global pandemic, and what has been done on that, right?
Yeah, nothing.
That's the interesting thing. This thing came from the Wuhan province, came from the Wuhan viral whatever lab. I was trying to think of that Jon Stewart bit, and nothing's been done about that, right? It's crazy. People are alleging, and by people, I think the actual White House is alleging that this happened under Trump. What did you find out about this, Jesse?
Right, so there's all kinds of media, there's people within the intelligence community, and all kinds of people that are suggesting that this kind of thing was also happening under Donald Trump. I've got a couple of videos of Trump administration officials who lay out exactly what's going on. Dawson, go ahead and pull up one of those videos that I had sent you, either of John Bolton or of the Breaking Points video, but either one of those will show you what is going on here.
It was possible here, but as the saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way. Capturing that payload is going to be very important. Whatever we can get off the bottom of the sea, if there were some other way to have brought it down more slowly, resulting in less destruction, so we could have proven this was Chinese intelligence gathering or whatever is in that payload, we should have taken a closer look at.
The other thing we heard from the Pentagon right after this happened last week as we were monitoring it was that this actually happened before when your boss, or former boss, former President Trump, was in office. We're now learning from a senior administration official who says those previous occurrences were discovered after the Trump administration left office. I think you, as National Security Advisor, can you answer how did a Chinese spy balloon get into U.S. airspace and someone like you was not told, someone like former President Trump was not told, the former Pentagon chief, Mark Esper, said he was not told about any of this? How did that happen?
Well, as far as I know, every Trump administration official who's been asked has said they didn't know anything about it. I will say this, if there was any actual knowledge that these balloons were over the United States and higher authority wasn't told, that's a serious problem. That's a serious problem. That's not what the Biden administration is saying. I wrote these words down. I was so stunned by them. One official told Fox News that the balloons went undetected, and then said, two things can be true at once. This happened and it wasn't detected. Well, if it wasn't detected when it happened, how did we detect it more recently? Did the Biden administration invent a time machine? What is the basis of this new detection? Now,
Okay, so that's good right there.
Very
But
good point from John Bolton.
well, it is interesting because John Bolton is someone who is looking to run for president against Donald Trump. He would take any opportunity possible to, disavow Trump, to say that Trump did something wrong. So if John Bolton is suggesting that nobody in the Trump administration knew about this, this means that the deep state, the intelligence community, was withholding information from Trump. They didn't want people to know about it. Maybe they're connected with China.
Assuming that's true, though, right?
I think it's more
Right.
likely they're making it up.
Yeah.
It could be very likely that that's
hey,
true,
either
too.
one of those is an interesting story, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know which one I prefer. Sometimes you just got to get to a point in life where it's like there's too much shit going on that I don't know.
And it shows the sort of cover-up that goes on within our own country and our government. So, it could be, like you guys said, it could be that there was never a Chinese spy balloon under the Trump administration. It could be that there was. They're saying that it flew over Georgia and Florida. I think that we should be talking to Brian Kemp. I think that we should be talking to Ron DeSantis. Did you guys see anything happening while you guys were governor of this state? There's things to be asked. We should be finding out if these balloons existed and then, why Trump and other...
So you're saying that Brian Kemp and Ron DeSantis would know, but the Department of Defense won't
I
know?
would. I'm just saying that they should have some sort of idea. Perhaps, if we're not able to find the answer within the Trump White House, maybe we need to start looking elsewhere. And if it, and the rumors that happened in those states, so they would be the people to ask.
Yeah. Well, I guess they have to be looking up at the sky at the time it happened. I mean,
Right,
what a
but they are
crazy
the
story.
what do you say? Not necessarily commander in chief, but they run the National Guard of their state. So
Commander-in-Chief of Florida.
yeah,
Yeah, but the National Guard nowadays is just basically subservient to the Pentagon. So, like, once
Actually,
again-
Florida just recently reinstituted their state, I forget what it's called, but they have their own state military that's essentially responsible for Florida activity exclusively.
But it's the National Guard.
No, they're
They have
two
a
separate things.
They have a separate thing.
Yep. So it's not. It's the
First
same
I've heard
thing
of
with
this.
like the Texas. A few states have their own military forces.
Well, yeah, and if they do have their own type of Air Force, I think that we definitely need to be asking them to look into it. Did you guys detect anything, on these alleged states? There's definitely things to be asking, and we need to get to the bottom of it. We can't let this be an Epstein thing where we don't get all the answers. We need all the answers.
Well, and the way it would work is that the Florida Air National Guard, I'm assuming, would pick up something like that. They'd report it up the chain. They
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily report it to Governor DeSantis.
Right. Yep. No, probably. But, there would still be some sort of a tracking that we could do, and hopefully we could get to the bottom of this thing.
Florida State Defense Force,
Yeah,
known
that's
as the
what it
Florida
is.
State Guard. It was created in 1941 to serve as a stateside replacement for the Florida National Guard while the National Guard was deployed abroad during World War II. Oh, I don't know much about this. I need to look into this.
Yeah, DeSantis brought it back because he was tired of the Guard being deployed and not having any emergency response prepared otherwise.
Oh, it's a big issue because last time I was in the Guard 10 years ago, something like that. Yeah, it's been about a decade since I've been out. But it was at a division level, and I looked at this stuff. I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I remember there was a partial government shutdown in Minnesota. Guard still drilled. There's a partial government shutdown in the feds, and Guard weekend was canceled because the money comes from the feds. It's like, that's an issue. This isn't a state militia. And basically, they deploy units as a reserve unit of the regular army. All right, anyhow, I got to move on here because we're short on time and there's too much to cover. So I want to go to some research you just found out about Governor Tim Walz, Mega Jesse.
Absolutely.
Credit to you where it's due. This is interesting, and I had never heard this before.
Yeah,
Tell people what you
absolutely.
learn.
Well, I've called him China Walls for quite some time. I've always known he was a globalist. I've always known he was connected to China and the whole globalist movement. What I found was people should be looking this up for themselves, too, if they're interested. House Resolution 1148. This was in the U.S. House. It was in 2010. And what this resolution did, which had Tim Walz as a co-sponsor on it, this bill was titled Expressing Support for the Mission and Goals of the World Economic Forum.
Do you have the article pulled up, Dawson, here? Yep. Right there. This is pre-published, by the way, so you guys are seeing something before it's even officially out there. We'll publish it this afternoon. Scroll down there to the actual resolution. There you go.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And, this is all a pretty short thing. I could actually just read it to you guys.
Read some of the main points here.
Sure. So, whereas the World Economic Forum has drawn attention to the clear connection of global economists and overall human advancement, and has called upon its members to improve the state of the world.
State of the world.
Right, exactly. They say
now,
that...
hold on. We got to go back to... See, I love how you started this article out, because you just quote some of the things that the World Economic Forum has said recently. You own nothing, and you'll be happy. You'll eat bugs. Your every move will be tracked. They once said the United States will not be the superpower of the world.
Yep.
We showed this, I think, on a couple episodes ago. And here's Tim Walz, Mr. Globalist himself, creating a House resolution, which actually had bipartisan support.
That's right.
Bipartisan. Paul Ryan signed this thing.
Oh, yeah, there were quite a few interesting people. Paul Ryan was on it. Ron Klein, he is the chief of staff for Joe Biden right now in the White House. There was also Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, Gabby Giffords, Mark Kelly, the U.S. senator from Arizona's wife. There's, of course, Tim Walz. There's Paul Ryan, the rhino who destroyed the United States House of Representatives as Speaker. Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, he's now a U.S. Senator. Peter Welch from Vermont, he's now a U.S. Senator. And Ed Markey from Massachusetts, he's now a U.S. Senator. So there's all kinds of people that are still within our government that supported this resolution.
And the whereas bylines here, whereas the World Economic Forum continues to focus international policy towards partnership, peace, and prosperity, now therefore be it resolved, the House of Representatives, number one, expresses support for the mission and goals of the World Economic Forum. and encourages the ongoing pursuit of productive international collaboration through economic, political, cultural, and intellectual engagement. Number 2, honors and congratulates Klaus Schwab for
Yep.
creating the World Economic Forum and for its 40 years of successful leadership. And number 3, honors the 40th anniversary of the World Economic Forum's leadership in global economic and social development.
Yep, they literally just honored and congratulated Klaus Schwab. What reality are we living in where this is allowed? Tim Walz, I'm happy that we uncovered this because we're exposing you for the globalist that you are. You're a tyrant. You're an authoritarian. You stand with Klaus Schwab. We're against you. We're against everything the World Economic Forum stands for. They're anti-freedom, anti-America, anti-human. We can't allow this to go on.
Right. Yeah, and just doing the work for these globalists. I mean, they were
Yep.
globalists back then. Now, this is obviously before a lot of this stuff has come out. But, I mean, listen, the idea is, and I don't think a lot of people are tracking it, national popular votes making a big move through the Minnesota legislature. Steve Simon, the Secretary of State, is looking to get this thing enacted in law. What does this thing do if it passes?
Yeah, so the National Popular Vote Compact essentially encourages state legislatures to pass this legislation and would require each state that passes it to give their electoral votes to the winner of the national popular vote, not the winner of
Your state.
the state. Exactly. So once enough states adopt the legislation, states that total 270 electoral votes, it goes into effect, and Minnesota is probably the next state that's going to pass it. Previously, Republicans had blocked it, but now there's a DFL trifecta in St. Paul, thanks to Tony Jurgens. And, yeah, it's going to add another 10 electoral votes. There are currently 195.
Well, just so people understand,
Yeah.
essentially, the way that the Electoral College works is each state gets to determine how they give their votes, right? And most, not all, but most are a straight popular vote. Like Nebraska, I think, divides it. I think one other one on the
Maine.
East Coast. Maine, yeah.
Yep.
But they're basically going to now say, it doesn't matter what Minnesota says, although, quite frankly, Minnesota's a bad case because we always go Democrat. I think we've gone Democrat since Richard Nixon.
Actually, yeah, we'd be more likely to give to a Republican after this passes.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be funny? But
Yep,
not.
yeah.
But not. Because I don't think Republican wins, and that's why they're pushing this. By the
Right.
way.
Well, yeah, look
so
at
essentially, it
2016.
doesn't matter what your state says, as long as the national popular vote is won by one candidate, all those votes go to it. And if 270 combined electoral vote states do this, it turns the whole way that the elections are determined, which was a beautiful way that the founders envisioned, is
Yep.
that it wasn't going to be done by just pure popular vote. In fact, the only popular vote, I think, in the original Constitution was U.S. representatives, and that's per congressional district. Senators were determined by state legislatures. They did this was a great design. It was a very smart way to do it.
Yep.
And so it's actually fascinating. States, the swing
Yep.
states, right, like Ohio and Pennsylvania, but at least they pass over the L.A. area and New York City and Chicago because Democrats already have those states in the bag. Now they're going to put all their effort in those big states and turn out mass votes.
Yep.
Yeah.
This thing is clearly a way for Democrats to just ensure they always get the presidency, right?
Yep.
And Simon even says, basically saying in his, I think the Star Tribune, we got linked in here. It's linked in here. Basically saying that, this is going to change the way that we elect our president in a better way. It's like, yeah, better for you guys. You're going to get your Democrats in. So it's just clearly a ploy by the Democrats, right? Right? Everyone?
Yep.
Why
Yeah.
don't you click on that link there, Dawson? HF642 hyperlink. Because clearly there's just Democrats behind this thing. No one else could possibly be on this thing. Here's the authors in the Minnesota House: Freiberg, Bonner, Longcraft, Greenman, Curran, Brand, Frazier. Wait a second. Who's that? Pat Garofalo?
I see.
Republican, is on this bill. So this thing has bipartisan support. I mean, assuming he's a Republican, I guess he caucuses and runs as a Republican. Pat Garofalo, Rhino, right,
Yep.
is on this bill to
Solid
completely
Republican
give.
district,
Now,
by the
he
way.
was, I think, a very anti-Donald Trump guy, right?
Yes. Still
And
is.
in many ways probably was hoping Hillary Clinton became president in 2016. I don't know. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But honestly, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah. No, it's unbelievable. And like you said, he's in a red district. He shouldn't be allowing this kind of thing. And honestly, I do believe that Republicans could win, and Trump especially could win a popular vote if that's how he was campaigning. But we're using the electoral college system. That's what we have, and that's the better system anyway.
Donald Trump's not going to win the popular vote, and I'll tell you why.
He could.
No, I'll tell you exactly why. It just comes down to pure easy operations. If you understand how the Democrats, their tactical advantage is in the metro areas. Every metro area is run by Democrats.
Right,
All
but if
across
Trump
the-
campaign that way, if Trump was campaigning to
He's
win
not
the
going to turn
popular
out. He's
vote,
going because now he's campaigning in the areas that aren't going to deliver him the votes.
no, he's going to hit everywhere. No, he would.
But you can't see. Eventually, you got to concentrate your efforts, and he's going to be just refuted. And I don't just mean Donald Trump. Every Republican, and even if a Republican has some advantage in the cities, they're going to now have to campaign purely on city issues. That's the other problem.
Right.
They're both going to have to change their strategy. Right. They have this massive advantage. How is a Donald Trump or a Republican ever going to compete with that?
No, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and I don't like this popular vote system. I think it would be a bad move, but I have ultimate faith in Trump being able to get that done. He says, we'd be able to win. And obviously, I agree with you that, it would force no more rural issues. It would force these city issues, and only certain states get to, have presidential candidates appear. I'm not saying it would be a good thing, and it would be the most difficult election we've ever had, but I can't believe that this country, the voters of this country, are going to allow us to continue to go down the drain. Everybody's going to wake up at some point.
Right. Go to actionforliberty.com, read William's article. Great research there. Both of you guys, thank you very much for uncovering that. Let's go to comments, Bridget.
Yeah, we have a comment from Heidi. She says, Jesse, he won't win because ballot harvesting in metro areas. Dem states created laws to ensure this advantage.
That's exactly it. That's all the Democrats are doing right now. And Steve Simon the same ways. We're going to register 16 and 17-year-olds. We're going to loosen the law so everyone gets an absentee ballot. You can vote for 46 days in Minnesota. They're just going to harvest ballots in the major metro areas where they can go door to door in an efficient manner, whereas in most Republican votes are rural areas of the country. I mean, you guys have all seen this map, right, where it shows the votes for Trump versus Hillary or Trump versus Biden, and it's all red except for little blots of blue. But the masses of people that live in those blue areas is going to be the big tactical advantage for the Democrats.
Yep.
And rhinos like Pat Ruffles like, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm going to get on this bill.
Well, the thing is, Trump's running again, and Trump says the election was stolen. It was stolen, by the way. But
we said it with such certainty, but I guess we can now that we're not on YouTube. Because that would have got us kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we got kicked off YouTube, one of the strikes, was because Jesse said the election was stolen.
Well, we can get kicked off of Facebook, too. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
We're not going to censor ourselves in order to make Mark Zuckerberg happy. But the election was stolen, but Trump's running again, and he's not really offering any solutions to how we get around this issue.
Jesse?
Well, first of all, what we need to do, expose the stealing that's going on, and then we need to outpace them. We need to outdo it, That's the only way that we can win. We have to beat the steal, and we have to expose the steal. So there's all kinds of things that Trump is in the making of doing, and obviously Trump is the leading voice for election integrity in our country. So there's lots to be done.
Yeah, well, I think so you got to look at states where ballot harvesting is legal. Minnesota's one of them, by the way. And you need to actually get down and dirty with what the Democrats are doing. That's the only way you can stay competitive. And look, you need to show up to houses with absentee ballots and say, hey, look, I'm happy to help you fill this out. I can turn it in for you today if you want. This is what the Democrats do, and it's why they were so successful in 2022. It wasn't the abortion issue. They just outpaced us on go-out-to-vote efforts.
Yeah, and tons of money behind those operations, which, once again, when you look at the money advantage, especially in Minnesota, it's crazy what Democrats have, and they're just going to the special interests and billionaires. That's what they're doing.
Yep.
They're not for the common man. Anyone that thinks they're for the common man's insane.
Yep.
Okay, we went a little over time. I just want to do half hour a day because we'll be back at 8 o'clock. Live reaction to Biden's State of the Union address. If he makes it through the whole address, I don't know what the chances are he actually
think he's
goes
going to pull a Mark Dayton?
Oh, no, I don't mean it that way. I
It'd
just
be
mean
over
like
for him. Man.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. A lot of people don't know this. They're like, oh, Biden won't last one term. It's like Mark Dayton fainted during the State of State address
Yeah.
and still finished his term. He did 2 terms, 8 years.
He spent the last couple months of his second term in the hospital, which the
Yeah.
media conveniently didn't report until after the election.
Yes, but, Mark Dayton must be a real lively, energetic guy now because he's got like a 34-year-old wife. So
She keeps him young.
she keeps him young. That's right. That's true love. Definitely true love. No doubt about that one. What?
I've got a really fast, rare opinion.
Oh, wow. Put the graphic up. We got a Dawson
Yeah,
and rare
sorry,
opinion.
I don't have one of those made up, but I was watching history videos over the weekend, and I got to like Teddy Roosevelt and the fact that he was like literally shot during a speech and just like
Yeah.
finished it off.
Yeah, isn't that
Yes.
crazy?
And today we're worried that our president would like get too old on stage and just pass
Yeah.
out. I think it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you made an
that's-
excellent point, Dawson. That's a good political
I
opinion.
only make excellent
From
points.
an apolitical person, that's a good one to have.
Reagan got shot with a 22 round. I think, probably handled that one decently well. Ended up in the hospital, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
George W. Bush, no big fan of George W. Bush, but was pretty badass. He was doing a press conference in Iraq and had this guy chucking a shoe at him.
Yeah. No, I know
And,
about that.
Yeah, he handled it like a boss. Twice, 2 shoes
Yeah, he
coming at him,
ducked him.
just kind of ducked out of the way. Like
Yeah.
he was actually a pretty athletic president, in terms of presidents. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're
He
right.
was a fighter pilot.
Was he a fighter pilot? I know he was a pilot. Was he a
He
fighter
was some
pilot?
kind
I
of
can't remember.
pilot, but he did a press conference on an aircraft carrier, and they flew the plane. And
I remember that. Yeah, that was very scrutinized. Big banner said mission accomplished.
yeah.
And then 8 years later, we leave Iraq or something like that.
I'm not a fan of Bush either, by the way, but there's certain things you can appreciate about it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I'm very happy for 2 reasons. Dawson had an opinion. And number 2, he's joining Jesse and watching old history of U.S. presidents,
Mm-hmm.
which you're not quite at his level, where Jesse actually watches like debates from the Chicago mayor's race, which
Yep.
is pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good race. I'm ready to see Lori Lightfoot go. So it's gonna be fun.
Oh, wait, is that election this year or something?
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
2023. Yeah, I
This
think it's in
spring.
5 weeks, right?
I thought the
Oh.
primary was like in February, and then there's like a runoff or something.
Yeah, there is a
in
runoff
March.
because there's not going to be anybody that gets 50%. So the
Right.
Chicago mayor race is definitely a fun one to watch.
Oh, I thought you were really bad. Like you were watching
Old stuff.
old debates.
Well, that's what you normally got to do. But when there's stuff happening, you watch the new stuff.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sure he
true.
watches it more than most Chicagoans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. I want you guys tuning in tonight, 8 o'clock, live on Rumble, live on Facebook, if you can even see us on there. Definitely not on YouTube, still banned on YouTube. Live on Rumble, live reaction to the State of Union address by Joe Biden. You won't hear commentary like we're going to have tonight. I think we'll keep it entertaining a lot more than he will, for sure. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you tonight at 8 p.m.